today we are going to make what we might call a simple hand crank. This is what's going to be in our kit today. It's actually a type of a simple machine. So before I show you just how to make it, I want to take just a minute to show you how we might actually use something like this. Now you'll have to excuse my books are backwards, but that's okay. So a crane, like what we're going to be using, is what's used on these big machines, in which they call it a crane. They will use it sometimes by the ocean, lifting things up. So those would be a machine cranes. It is a simple pulley, and probably some of the easier ways that we might think to look at it. Okay, like a tow truck. So the tow truck, what's used on the back to pull that car, is a type of a crank or a pulley. A flagpole, to move that flag up and down, they use a type of that. And let's see, the other one that was so cool is a ski lift. So it can be used for fun, it can be used for work. So there are a lot of practical uses for a crank, but the one that we're going to make is going to be just for fun. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Nothing fancy, but something that you can play with. We'll show you how to make it this way, and then give you a few other things that maybe you can adapt as you work on it. So we'll start with the bag that you picked up from the library. Inside you will have your directions. And the picture is on here, so some people like to read words for directions, and some people just like to look at the pictures. I like to read words, my husband likes pictures, so we have a little bit of something for everyone. Inside your bottle, inside your bag, you are going to have 2 water bottles. And one's falling apart, perfect. So we have 2 water bottles. You're going to have your base that you're going to be putting them on. You are going to have the straw that will go across the top that's going to make your crank. You're going to have your string, and you're going to have the part of the tube that we're going to put at the bottom. That's going to be what we are lifting up and down with our crane. Really, the only thing that you need to put this together is going to be a roll of tape. And masking tape works better. It'll fall apart really fast with Scotch tape, but you can go ahead and do it if that's all that you have. You will probably notice the first thing that you're going to pick up this bottle. This one's perfect. See, I put the little pipe cleaners on the top. They're all ready to go. I did that on all of them, but as we can see, this one fell apart. So don't panic. It's okay. What you're going to do is you can just retape it. I'm going to take it all the way off and show you. You're probably going to have 2 loops of a pipe cleaner. This is what our straw will be going through. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to just get this taped back around the top of the bottle. Okay, so you're going to want to tape it on. The important thing is, before you go any farther, you make sure that your straw will go through both. Because if you don't get it on and they're facing 2 different directions, your straw is not going to go through. Okay. The next thing is you're going to take your base, and we're going to want to tape the bottle onto the base. So the first time I did it, I put it down, I taped it on, and then I realized that, see my little loops? They're going the wrong way. The straw has to go through this way, and my loops are going the wrong way. So I'm going to remind you first, so you can think when you put it up, make sure the loops are going the long way, so when your straw goes through, it's going to be able to go through those little loops. So once you get it kind of where you think you're going to want it to be, you're going to take some pieces of tape. Now you might want to have them pulled off ahead of time. Maybe you want to have somebody bigger help you, but if you're good at ripping tape, then you just go right ahead and do it yourself. So much the better. It just all depends on whether, your grown-up at your house wants you playing with the tape yourself. So I'm going to kind of hold this because I know where I want it. I'm going to take the tape, I'm going to stick it on the base and then up the side of the bottle. Okay, I have one piece of tape that's going to kind of now hold it up, hopefully hold it still if I don't knock it over. Then you're going to want to actually probably put 4 pieces of tape on each bottle, one on each side of the bottle. Make sure it attaches to both the bottle and then makes like an L or comes part way out on the side. And here I'm going to I have an extra piece of tape. I'm going to just have it go right underneath. So actually now that's pretty sturdy. This one that I made, I've traveled it back and forth, up and down. It still held pretty good. Okay, so we have one on. That was the easy one to put on. The next one, you gotta really think. Okay, so you don't wanna just get in a hurry, set it down, get those pieces of tape and say, I'm ready to go, because do you remember what we have to check before we tape it down? Do you remember? Do we have to make sure that these loops, if I tape it like this, am I gonna get through my loops? They're not coming the right way, are they? Now, if you want to really make sure, you could leave that in there and say, okay, I want it facing this direction. You don't have to do that. It just maybe helps you a little bit, know what you're doing. And then just like we did on the other side, we're going to take that tape. We're going to put 4 pieces on. Hopefully I won't stab myself in the face with the straw. And then the one in the middle. Okay, so now I have the base for my crank. I have the base. I put my straw through and it'll turn. So far, so good. But what are we missing? What's the other part that we're going to need? Yeah, the most important part. The part in the middle that we're going to lift up and down with our crank. Okay, so then we have this piece of string. Now, if this doesn't work for you, you can cut another piece of string from at home. You can use yarn. You can use whatever you have. And in fact, we're going to put this on. This is what comes with it, is, just a piece of cardboard. But if you wanted to actually lift something up and down, if you had any kind of a little cup, or if you wanted to put something on the bottom of this, you could use something else at the base. But I thought that would be a little too complicated to put into the kits. But I did just want to mention, if you have this and you were cranking this up and down, you could actually move things. I don't know if we won't do that, because that's not actually what's in your kit. That's just something else that you can think about. And so I'm going to take, this is a really big piece of cardboard. So I'm going to tie it. Just put a little knot around the piece of the cardboard that you have at the bottom. And so that it's tied on there. If you need some help to get it so that it ties on there, you can do that. Then, just a trick, don't take the straw all the way out and then tie it on, because then if it's tied on and you try to put your straw through, this is over here on the side. I know, because I did that once too, So if you do make these mistakes, you just take it apart and try again. That's what's nice about making things. You can always fix what you made. You can always change it. This string is going to be just a tiny bit short, but that's okay. So I'm going to put it through here so that it holds steady. Then I'm going to take my string and I'm going to tie it here in the middle. I tie my string so that it's going to hold it on here. Hopefully, you can get it tied well enough that it's going to stay a bit. Now, I have all my parts. I have my 2 base, I have my straw handle, and I have in the middle what it is that I want to crank and move up and down. Now, hopefully it's going to work. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. One more thing to make it easier, I'm going to take a piece of tape and tape that so it doesn't just spin around. Did you see how I was turning the crank and nothing happened? Now I've taped that on there. So now when I turn it, see, we always forget something. It moves up, and then I can go the other way, and I can move it down. And it moves up, and it moves back down. And so this is something very easy. You can adjust it if you have something at home that you want to use instead. We have for our base just a plain piece of cardboard, but if you wanted to color it or decorate it up, some of the colors are hard to get to work. See, this was the first one I was trying to make water or grass. You can't really see too much. This one I just tried different colors to see what was going to show up. But here we just have the plain the plain base. So you can do whatever you want. You could make it fancier. You could decorate up your bottles. You could decorate up what you're moving. So you can do any of those things to add to it. And then when you're finished, you've got something that you could play with a little bit. Okay? So I hope you enjoy making your crank. Something that you can think about. Make it a different way. Make it with a friend. And you have a good time building. And have a good day. Bye-bye.